Hello, it's Sonia here, The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, and that means it's Tunisian Tuesday. So today we are going to be doing a stitch pattern. And for this I'm using my J hook or 6mm hook. And the yarn I am using still has a yarn label. Shocking, because usually I lose them. So it's Impeccable Yarns, Loops and Threads, which you can find at Michael's. And it is a number 4 yarn, but you could use a variety of yarn types for this stitch pattern and hook sizes. Okay, so to get started for this, you will need to chain a multiple of 4 and add 3. So why don't we chain 19, because 4 times 4 is 16, and you add 3 and it's 19. Okay, so here we go. I have my 19 chains. So we are going to get ready for row 1. Row 1 is the setup row. So we're working in the back bump of the chain. In the second bump from our hook, we're going to pull up a loop. And we're just going to continue to pull up loops across. And with Tunisian crochet, it's always worked in 2 parts. The first part of your row, you're putting your stitches on the hook, and it's often called the forward pass. And the second part of your row, you're taking your stitches off the hook, and that is usually called the return pass, and that would be 1 row. So each row is worked in 2 parts. And if you've never done Tunisian crochet before, I do have a complete playlist that goes over the basics, and I'll have that link below in the description box for you if you want to check that out. I also have other stitch tutorials in Tunisian crochet included in that link, and also patterns as well. Alright, so here we go. Here is my forward pass. I have 19 loops on my hook, so let's work these guys off. So to do the return pass, you're going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops for the rest of the row, and then row 1 will be complete. Okay, so there we go. There is row 1 all done. So let's begin row 2. This will be the start of the repeat. Okay, so we are going to insert our hook in the first 3 loops, these vertical bars here in Tunisian Simple. And again, if you do not know what Tunisian Simple stitch is, that is in the playlist. So there we go, in those first 3 loops. And so we're doing like a big together or decrease stitch, and we're going to yarn over and pull through. So we want to put those loops back on because we want to have the same amount of loops that we on our hook when we get to the end. So when we get to the end of our forward pass, we will still have 19 loops on our hook. So we're going to yarn over and go right back in there and pull up a loop. So now we have the correct number of stitches. So we're going to repeat that. So you're going to put your hook in those next 3 vertical bars, pull up a loop, yarn over, go back in, pull up a loop, and continue across. Okay, so we have 3 stitches left. So we do not have 3 vertical bars. So what you're going to do in those last 2, you're just going to work Tunisian Simple in the next 2. And then in that last stitch, it looks like a chain on the end. You're going to insert your hook in that chain and pull up a loop. And we should still have our 19 loops in our hook. And we have those 19 loops, so let's work those off. So we're going to do the return pass the same. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there we go. We've got row 2 all done. So let's begin row 3. So in that first vertical bar, we're going to pull up a loop in Tunisian Simple. And then the second one, it's a little bit hidden in there, but it's there. So you're going to pull up that loop, Tunisian Simple. Now what we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook into the next one, but we're also going to insert our hook in the one below. So this loop here, and you can kind of see those 3 vertical bars down there. So the one on the end, insert your hook, and we're going to yarn over, pull through 2. So it is a together stitch or decrease like that. And we're going to repeat that across. So Tunisian Simple in the next stitch, Tunisian Simple in the next, and then in the next one, and then that third one below, it's right underneath, and work the Tunisian Simple stitch, the together stitch there, and just keep going. Okay, so now we're getting towards the end. We're just working Tunisian Simple in the next 2 stitches. And then work in that stitch that looks like a chain. And again, we still have our 19 loops on our hook, and we're going to work these stitches off our normal return pass. I need to get more yarn out of my skein of yarn here. It's kind of stuck in there. Technical difficulties, sorry. Alright, so let's do that return pass. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so there we go. There is row 3 all done. So let's begin row 4. So row 4 will be similar to row 2, but it's just a little bit different. So our first stitch, we're just working Tunisian Simple. And then in the next 3, we're going to insert our hook in Tunisian Simple. So 1, 2, 3, just like that. So working that big together stitch and yarn over. So we've put our we've worked that together stitch. So now we need to put the stitches back on. So we're going to yarn over, go right back in those 3 stitches, pull up a loop just like we did in row 2, and we're going to repeat across. So the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, pull through all 3 of those guys, yarn over again, and put our hook back in there, pull up a loop, and we're going to repeat across. So in those 3 stitches, working that together stitch, yarn over, right back in. And now we have 1 Tunisian Simple stitch left, so we're going to insert our hook into that one, and we need to work in that stitch that looks like a chain. And again, we'll have our 19 loops on our hook, and we need to work them off. So just a regular return pass, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so I finished the return pass for row 4. So let's work row 5. So row 5 is going to be similar to row 3. We're going to insert our hook in the first stitch in Tunisian Simple, and then our next 2 stitches will also be Tunisian Simple. So the first 3 there are Tunisian Simple. Now we're going to work that together stitch in the next stitch here, and then in that third one below there. So insert our hook there. So you can see, let me get a littler hook. These 3, so that was from when we did the decrease. So 1, 2, 3, so right in that guy there. And work that Tunisian Simple, and we're going to do that across. And now we just have 1 Tunisian Simple stitch left on the end there. And we work in that stitch that looks like a chain. And again, we should still have 19 loops on our hook. And we're going to work these off. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. Okay, so let's begin row 5 here. So this one has a couple rows for the repeat, but it's not too bad. All right, so row 5, we are going to work our first 2 stitches Tunisian Simple. And then we're going to insert our hook in the next 3. And then yarn over and go back in there to put those stitches back on. And we're going to repeat across, so in the next 3 stitches in Tunisian Simple, working that big decrease and going right back in with the yarn over and pulling up the loop. So we're taking stitches away, and then we're yarning over and we're putting stitches back on and going right back in. Okay, and we have 3 stitches left before our last stitch. And now we need to work our last stitch here. And so we do have our 19 loops on our hook, and we need to work these guys off. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so let's begin row 7, and this will be the last of the repeat. So it's rows 2 through 7 that you're going to be repeating. We're going to work Tunisian Simple stitch in our first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to work that together stitch in the next simple stitch and then in the one right below it. So I do not know what this stitch is called. I was just playing around with it, kind of came up with it. To me, it kind of reminds me of like little like chicken feet or bird feet in a way. Or branches. I just thought it was fun and thought I would share it with you. So we're going to work Tunisian Simple in the next 2 stitches. And then work that together stitch in the next one and then in the one right below. We're just doing that across. So in the beginning it's the setup where you had the 4 and then you work Tunisian simple in the next 2 and then you work that decrease. So we're almost to the end, so here we go, here's that last decrease. And then in that stitch that looks like a chain. And we're going to do our return pass like normal. So what you're going to do is repeat rows 2 through 7 for however long you want your swatch. And then I'm going to go do that. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to, or how many repeats I'm going to do. Obviously this is one where you do, you know, would make a good like blanket pattern or something that requires a lot of rows to really get the look. Okay, so here we go. I ended up working 19 rows. I did 3 repeats of the stitch pattern and I think it looks really neat. I really like it. So we're going to do the bind off row. So I think the best way to bind off this stitch pattern is just to work even all the way across in Tunisian simple, because we did work Tunisian simple for this entire stitch pattern, but we just did it in different ways with the working the together stitches and things like that. So we're just going to insert our hook in Tunisian simple and work that bind off. So if you're not sure what the bind off is, again, that's in the playlist. It goes over the bind off. It just helps to give the Tunisian stitch a more complete look. So you can see here, we did not bind off. Like, you could just cut your yarn, but it just looks not quite as finished as this side here where we are doing the bind off. So just think of it as like the finishing touch to your Tunisian project. And basically we're just working like slip stitches all the way across. So when you're doing your Tunisian bind off, you just want to make sure you have a more relaxed hand. Alright, and then I'm going to work in that stitch, it looks like chain there. And then we are all set. So there we go, there is the stitch pattern, and again, I think it's really fun. I really like it, and it does kind of remind me of little like chicken feet for some reason. And I don't know if this has a name or not. It might not, I don't know. But again, I was just playing around, and I've been having fun just kind of playing around, especially with doing like together type stitches and then just making different combinations with that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.